Welcome to episode 5 of High Above Courtside. My name is Jason, that's Steven, and that's Anthony. Guys, what's going on?
How we doing, fellas?
Could be better.
You guys have a good Christmas at least?
Yeah, until the game.
The game was rough. So obviously Celtics lose to the 76ers in a close game at the end. I mean, the only thing I really want to ask you guys is, like, what happened last night? Like, where did we go wrong?
Where to start? I mean, that's a tough way to end your Christmas day, filled with excitement. You're getting your presents. You're excited to go to the game, stomp on the Sixers. They blow. And then Caleb Martin just erupts on us, similar to the ECF Heat series we had a little while ago with them. But according to the players and the coaching staff after the game and the post-game interviews, they kind of just want to leave Caleb Martin open. And it makes sense because he's been shooting the three ball like terribly this season. Very low percentages, only knocking down 18% of his open three-point attempts and 30.5% overall in the season. In complete Caleb Martin fashion, though, he hits 7 for 9 against us, 77.8% from deep, including a bank shot above the break three, which was just like, you just throw your hands up and say, fuck this, we're just gonna pack it in because this sucks. And you know what sucks the worst? Like, he hit 7 against us in this one. In the ECF series, he hit only 4 max on in those games, so he didn't go like too crazy. But the devil magic was flowing through him in this one. It was just atrocious. Overall, though, the Sixers shot 46.6% from the field, 42.5% from three. It's really good. 17 for 40. They put up 43 points. So that's like a lot. And then 19 for 19 from the charity stripe. They didn't miss at all. And they only had 6 turnovers. So like everything I just read to you is exactly how Celtics play basketball. The percentages, everything, that's like perfect. When you shoot the ball efficiently, you don't turn the ball over. It's a recipe for success. On the other side, Celtics played great, shooting as well. Celtics shot 45.3% from the field. We had 7 more shots than the Sixers as well. So like we won that margin right there. 40.8% from three, 20 for 49. I mean, this is great. But the Achilles heel in close games, 8 for 13 from the free throw line. Fuck me, 61.5%. Are you kidding me? And, just right there alone, you hit all those, it's game. And then we had 13 turnovers in this one. The turnovers, we'll get into it, but the turnovers were atrocious. 6 in the first quarter, 8 in the first half compared to the Sixers 1. We lead. We're not leading. We're second in the league with 11.7 turnovers per game. That's just, you can't have those ones in close games. That's a tough one.
We lead the league in turnovers per game, did you say?
We're second in the league. Yeah, 11.7.
Yeah, so turnovers are obviously the issue. It was the issue, in the first half where we fell behind big was obviously for me, the key to the game. I mean, they kind of played overall half decent outside of the turnovers. They shot the ball well. Tatum was unbelievable, as he has been all month. Jalen was awful in the first half, but kind of redeemed himself in the second half. Philly, I said this to Steve before the game yesterday. Philly, I expected a good fight from Philly. I expected a close game because this was where Philly needed to show America that they're still a contender in the East, and if they're healthy, they can still play. So I knew it would be a down to the wire type game. And and then Caleb, Kobe Bryant, Martin happened. A crazy fact that I read today about Caleb Martin. Yesterday he had 7 threes. He hit 30. That was 30% of his total threes made on the entire season yesterday. Oh. His 3-point percentage went from 27% yesterday to 36% just from going 7 for 9 yesterday. I mean, you can't make this stuff up. It happens once in a while. It happens a while when Caleb Martin plays in the TD Garden. I think we need to sign Caleb Martin pretty soon and just end this. Like, this has to be a guy that we just sign him and like put him up in Maine and just get rid of him. We just need him gone because I can't go on like this anymore. I can't be in the building for a Caleb Martin 3-point barrage ever again.
It's the worst. I mean,
it really is the worst. The bang three was like
it drew me. It was crazy. It was crazy. We were both there, Jason, and we just like sat back down in our seats. We were like, "What the hell? What is this? This guy?" And the whole place groans because we know Caleb Martin and his devil. It was brutal.
Yep.
The worst part, like we won the rebound battle, 51-39. Offensive rebounds, 13-5.
23s.
Yeah, points off turnovers were even. Points in the paint were even. There's a little win for us there. We were cooking fast break points, 17-7. But the defense was just inconsistent, and and it's tough to have issues like that. We're 7th in defensive rating, so when that happens, you're just like, damn, man. And they pride themselves on trying to have 25-point quarters, and this one they had one in the third, 16 points.
36-point quarters, which would have killed them.
First quarter, 30 points. Second quarter, 36 points. Third quarter, 16. In the fourth, 36. It was just Olay in them. But the 3-point shots were crazy too. They were just like hitting everything.
Now, I think one thing I want to talk about is obviously Embiid, George, and Maxey. I think this is I don't know if it's their 4th or 5th game, but they were saying on the broadcast that like they've never played really together this season because Embiid's been hurt, Maxey was hurt, George obviously hurt. They're all injury prone. So did you guys see anything in that game that made you think like, wow, if these three are on the floor at the same time, they could give the Celtics like a run in the playoffs in terms of like a good matchup necessarily?
Yeah, the big three was Maxey, Embiid, and Caleb Martin.
Yeah,
Paul George is crap in this one. He shot 4 for 15 from the field, 0 for 7 from 3. Ugh.
Paul George might be next year the worst contract in the NBA. He's not the old Paul George. He's almost 35 now. But Maxey's the Celtics always, especially without Drew yesterday, a really quick point guard has always been kind of an Achilles heel to the Celtics, especially when Porzingis is on the court. And I know he twisted that ankle early, so I think that had something to do with it. But it was just tough. They were getting him in pick and roll every time, and Maxey's just way too quick for him, especially when he's a step off with that ankle. It's like, I was saying I was almost glad when he didn't come out in the second half because the first half it was like, dude,
he was cooking him.
It was a bucket every time. And I know like KP hit a couple threes and he did have some points, but the Sixers were getting a good shot every single time down the other end of the court. And I really think late in the game was the beginning of the fourth. It was tied going to the fourth, and they were trying to match Al up with KP. I mean, with Embiid's minutes, obviously, and Maxey just went off those first 5 minutes. I think they ideally could have gone back to Horford a few minutes early, and maybe that lead doesn't get up to like 14 or 15 or whatever it did because it was just too much to battle back from. But like overall, the Sixers in a playoff series, I don't think I think you would have gone back to Al 9 minutes left in the fourth quarter and rode him through the whole fourth quarter. So I don't know that lead would have ballooned up the way it was. But in the Sixers big three, Paul George doesn't worry me at all. It's Maxey and Embiid and
Caleb.
We'll see what happens. I mean, and I don't know if this will scare Sixers fans, but you have no excuse anymore. You're healthy. You can beat the Celtics on the road. Finals are bust. I don't want to hear about it when they're in the first round. And I don't want to hear about it when they don't get out of the second round again. You're right there. You can play with the best teams in the East, make the finals, or you're a failure again. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I do love watching Maxey play, though. He plays good ball. He's just got, great shot and that step back, squeeze those shoulders. It just looks like it's going in every time. But let's kind of go over to some of the positives here. We had our boy, another great game, master on the glass, JT, 32 points, 15 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 1 block on 55% shooting, 11 for 20 from the field, 4 for 8 from deep. That's 50%. 3 turnovers, that's all right. It's not the worst. In 41 minutes, he was logging minutes, and he was second on the team in plus minus of +5. Al was the other one who showed up. 17 points, 17 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, team high, +22 on 46.2% field.
+22 in a game we lost by 4 is ridiculous. That's what I mean. If Al comes back, if Al plays most of the fourth quarter, like in a playoff game, like that's – we still might not win the game, but we're not down 15. Like it's not going to happen.
He did put in 33 minutes in this one, so I guess Joe was trying to figure out if he could steal some minutes, but like you said, I think he should have came in a little earlier, and that could have been, the difference here. Derek was all right in this one, 21 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists. 5 for 10 from deep. That's good to see. He's been struggling a little bit from there.
Yeah.
Did have 4 turnovers. I think you mentioned this in our notes, Jason, but the passing, it's been tough.
Yeah.
The entry passes. Tatum's been doing a lot of sealing. A lot of our players have been doing a lot of sealing down low. We do some rim running. Jalen gets down there. Al will get down there, JT. And we try to throw those lob passes in, and either they're, they hang there a little bit too high in the air or they're not enough zip on it. But those entry passes need to be a little bit more crisp. Speaking of sloppy basketball, Jalen Brown, said he did have a good second half. 5 turnovers, back-to-back games with 5 turnovers, 18 turnovers the last 5 games. I mean, it's kind of tough sledding for him. JT was out for that Magic game that we'll touch in, so it's tough on creating all that offense and stuff like that. But it's just been some sloppy basketball. I don't know if it's just December and we're like, damn, dude, it's kind of sucks playing right now. We want to get to the playoffs, but you can't skip steps. And that's what made last year so amazing and so special, because we took every game head on. Like, we're going to steamroll this team. I don't care who it is, what day it is, what time of the month, we're crushing them. And that's kind of a little let go of the rope right now, I feel.
There is a player, though, that we've touched on before that we've had high praise on that's kind of been struggling. I feel like that's Peyton Pritchard. He played 33 minutes last night, only had 4 points. 0 of 8 from the three-point line. He makes a couple threes that game. We probably win that game.
And he had some good looks last night.
Open looks.
Like, it's basketball. I mean, it is tough.
Yeah.
You can't. That's why you can't go too crazy about a regular season game where it's like, a 7-game series is just so different, because it's a lot harder for a guy like Pritchard to go. Is Caleb Martin going to go 7 for 9 every game?
No.
I mean, he did a few years ago with the Heat, but I don't know. You got to think that that's just not going to happen, and so it's you can't really overreact. But they have to get back to playing more crisp, especially on offense with the turnovers. And the biggest thing is just live ball turnovers. The entry passes, it leads to I say this to people all the time, but if you just throw the ball out of bounds, it's not the worst turnover, because you can get back, get set on defense, and a lot of times you get a stop, and then it's like, okay, who cares about that turnover? When you have a live ball turnover, it's leading 3-on-2s, fast breaks, open transition threes, whatever it is. It's just tough to turn the ball over like that and win games, especially when the other teams got low turnovers. The only reason we were really touching the Magic game, but the Magic turned the ball over as much as we did, and that's the only reason we kind of stuck around in that game as it was. So
I just want to give flowers to Luke Cornett. 10 rebounds, 6 points. He didn't have, stat sheet's not lit up, but I thought he played solid minutes and fill in for KP when needed yesterday. So I thought, maybe if Luke can give us more of that, especially if KP is going to be out a certain amount of time, he'll be decent in the next couple of games. I'm sure we won't see KP for at least a couple of weeks. I'd assume.
I thought it was just a twisted ankle.
It looked like a pretty bad twisted ankle, but again, the whole arena was just like, no. As soon as you saw him twist that ankle and stop hobbling around, it's tough with him, man. He's so good. He's great when he's healthy. He adds such a different dimension to this team. But he's played 11 games. He's left 3 times with injury. So you're just like, damn, man, what's going on here?
But a lot of them are freak injuries. It's just gonna happen. And when you're 7'3", I don't know what. It's not. There's not a solution to it. To me, you're not getting rid of KP because he twists his ankle once in a while.
No, 100%. It's just it's tough. You want availability when you can, especially with a player that's so great.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
So we can move to the Magic game. Obviously, they lost 108-104. No JT in this game. So, Steve, I'll start with you. Just what did you notice in this game with the Celtics that kind of made them not fall apart, but sort of just give this game to the Magic down the stretch?
Well, we couldn't hit anything. We were 8 from 33 from deep. That's 24.2%. That's never going to win you anything, especially when Orlando matched you in 3-point volume. They went 13 for 33 at 39.4%. For overall, though, we shot 44% from the field. They shot 44%. Turnovers, man. 18 turnovers in this one. Again, Magic though had 20 turnovers, so it really was just that 3-point shot and that they matched us in volume. Everything else was fine. We won points in the paint in that one as well. So it's sometimes, and it's like kind of a cop-out saying make or miss league, but it's just what it is sometimes, especially when you have no JT on that one. Jaylen Brown did go off on this one, 35 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals. 1 for 7 from 3, though. That's a tough one. Overall, 51% from the field. He had 29 shots in this. 29 shots is wild. But, I mean, when you're the main guy, that's what you got to do. So it was just tough 3-point shooting game for us. And the defense. Their defense is unreal. Magic, hats off to them. They're unreal. Yeah,
Weird no one Celtics have the teams playing the Celtics last 2 games are now 40 for 40 at the line in 2 games. No, yeah, kind of strange. Doesn't happen often. I don't care how good of a free throw shooting team you are. But the Magic game. The biggest thing for me was if you look at the assists, Magic 26 assists to the Celtics 13. That's what it looks like when Tatum's not in the game. They missed Tatum's creation. So the reason they weren't getting those wide, how many assists did they get a game off wide open threes, catch and shoot threes? It wasn't happening in some Magic, and some Magic are great at taking away threes for their opponent's threes, and without Tatum, you just weren't drawing those doubles and having the wide open guys in the corner. So it's tough to win games against an elite defensive team like that, especially when you're turning the ball over 18 times. I thought Jaylen was really intentional and great at getting in the paint all the time and trying to finish. He was 15 for 29, I think. But he was very deliberate about what he was doing, which I did really like that about his game.
Yeah.
Against the Magic, and I want to see more of that. And he tried to do it in the first half against Philly, but Philly was really handsy, and I thought the officiating was a little bit suspect early in the game against Philly. But that's how I want to see Jaylen play. Get 2 feet in the paint, try to let's finish at the rim, because that's what he's elite at. So that was my big positive for that game.
How defense were able to defend us is so crazy. They're hand checking the whole time. They're grabbing our jerseys when we're going up. They're grabbing us all the time. It's astonishing. And then the technicals they were throwing out in that game was crazy too. Joe should not be on the court, but every coach does that. And then the waving is so soft. There's such weak technicals to give out, especially when and Jaylen was like, I keep questioning the integrity of the ref. Yeah, right. Get out of here. And then he said he threatened him with a technical, and then he gave it to him. What are we doing here? That's not part of the game. That's not what we want to see.
Yeah. The get back to the Magic a little bit. I think they are. I don't think they're a real threat this year, but they are elite defensively. The way they can just man up on the perimeter across the board. I mean, the people that complain about threes in the NBA don't watch the Magic play. Play like the Orlando Magic, and you won't give up 50 threes a game. They don't allow teams to get wide open looks. They guard their yard. They switch everything. Everyone can guard. And then look, you're only getting up 33 threes in that game instead of their usual 50. So the people that complain about, the NBA, everyone's just shooting threes. Well, that's because half the league has guys who can't defend teams like the Celtics, and it's just leading to getting 2 on the ball, and then you're getting a wide open 3 every time. So watch the Magic play. They're elite at taking away teams' threes, even without their 2 of their better perimeter guys. So I think Orlando is legit, and going forward, they're going to be legit. So.
Yeah, with Paolo and Franz, it's a great duo. I mean, they're first in blocks, so not only do they run you off the 3 and defend well, when you get to the rim, they're most likely sending that shit into the third row. They're second in opposing points per game, opponent points per game at 103.9. These guys are coming after you. They're 6th in steals at 9.4. Handsy, blocking everything, running you off, super athletic, long. It's a good team. They just need more experience. Yeah, great coach too.
Yep.
They need to get another superstar.
Yeah, or just maybe not even a superstar as instant offense guy off the bench.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. If they had Peyton Pritchard or a Malik Monk or a guy like that. Isn't an elite defender, but they can just say, "Hey, dude, you're coming in for 20." And Cole Anthony is kind of like that, but he's not he's kind of streaky, but so I don't know what the move for them is, but I mean, they're like a move away from really being a problem for the league.
Yeah, don't forget about Suggs either. He's great on defense. He's a straight up athlete. He's shooting so much better too.
You know what they reminded me of the other day, why I wasn't that upset about that loss, is they reminded me of like the 2016 Celtics teams that were like, when the hospital Celtics would play and everyone would be injured, and it was like we beat the Warriors and we'd win games against teams we had no business winning. They play hard every night. They D up every night. They're always going to be in games because they're going to play harder than you. So credit to them, and they're going to be a problem.
So I want to move to, so we touched on KP's injury a little bit in the 76ers game, but I think on a broader scale, it's a bigger issue in terms of him not being able to stay on the court for a certain amount of time. Obviously, he's had, some pretty substantial injuries in his past, and obviously coming off of that weird like ankle foot thing that he had in the finals. So with the trade deadline coming up, and people are already starting to write articles on what the Celtics should do and could do with all the rules that they have, do you guys believe there should be a move that Brad tries to make in terms of solidifying our center position? With, obviously, you're never going to find a guy that's Porzingis that can shoot the three, give you 25 on any given night, but a dude that can give you 5 to 8 points off the bench or some sort of spark at that position. Do you think there's a way that they can do that? I know Daniel Tice is a guy that's been rumored, but I don't know if that really makes much sense because you still got Tillman and Cornette. But is there any people that are on your mind that they should get? And do you even think they should explore that trade market for that position?
I don't think they should. I think you're not finding anyone better than Cornette, Tillman, Keita, kind of what they already have. And if you do, I don't know what you could give up to go get it. Like a stretch big that can, shoot high 30s from three you're not going to get that for Jaden Springer, I don't think, unless it's like a Daniel Tice type guy. But is Daniel Tice he's not better than Luke Cornette at this point in his career, and he's probably not better than Keita either, to be honest. So I don't know what his numbers look like this year, but I just think like I'm not sure if it's something that, do you start tinkering with Tatum at the 5 more? Is it time to try to get regular season minutes with Tatum at the 5 so we can maybe, if we need it in the playoffs again? I mean, I remember in the finals, they played it for like 3 minutes against the Mavs at one point. I think it was in game 5, actually. And the Mavs got like 4 dunks right away, and like it just did not work at all. So it was like, they didn't work on it much during the year, and it's like can we run that out against the Pistons and the Wizards and play like 8-minute stretches with Tatum at the 5 and the Drew, Hauser and JB or something, and see what we can get out of that? Because I think that's probably in the playoffs your best fix if KP is out for multiple games or whatnot.
It's tough though too, because Hauser's been in and out of the lineup with the back spasms, and we don't really have any wing depth there. So what do you elevate Littlefoot, aka Drew Peterson? Hopefully he can come in there, or like you said, move Tatum to the 5. I just think it's a little tough, and we're handcuffed. You can't aggregate salaries. You just have Springer as your real own to put out there. And before we got dismantled by this crazy shooting performance by the Sixers, I really kind of wanted Yabu on this team. I thought Embiid may be out with the face fracture he has, orbital fracture. Paul George in and out and everything, and they're just like kind of sucking in general. And I was like, well, Yabu doesn't make that much, and he's really doing well. He's shooting pretty good. Yeah. He's averaging 9.2 points, 5.3 rebounds, 1.6 assists in 23.8 minutes. And that's the biggest thing for us, right? Is like whoever we're going to bring to this team has to get on board with. They're not going to be playing a lot necessarily because, well, it depends if KP is in and out, because then that kind of gives more minutes around. But I was really looking at Yabo. He shoots really good clip from 3. Above the break, he's unreal. He shoots 37.5%. And league average is 35. So that's just like a real good weapon to have. And we saw some of that last night, in that Sixers game.
Yeah, the Sixers aren't selling anymore, so that the Yabusele is a nice pipe dream, but I don't think that's happening.
I'm trying to look to that article because there was other guys that he mentioned that Forsberg mentioned, and they weren't anyone like crazy. It was just because I didn't realize Springer was making $4 million, and that's a lot to just never play, So it's but
Yeah,
they kind of
go ahead.
no, go
Sorry.
ahead. No, I was gonna say they just treat Springer like a developmental project. Like he'll eventually he'll get a role, but is it like you sign Pritchard to a long-term deal? So like where's his minutes coming from? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and especially because he makes $4 million, so we're over the cap, the second apron, whatever it is. And for every dollar you spend, you're really spending $4. So like that's just like kind of crazy to have him on the roster for that. But again, we're kind of just handcuffed, and we do have that open roster spot, so you could elevate someone, but it's a little tough, especially not just for like us, but other like teams that are like on that second apron as well, just about to be.
So there's
So I have some names, but you go first, Jason.
No, I was gonna say some of the names that come up is Kevin Love, old friend Javante Green. I believe he's with the Pelicans or the Bulls. Josh
Green.
Richardson, who was here for I think half a season. Tice Vita Krejci, I believe he's a backup guard for the Hawks.
He's actually pretty like physical too. I kind of like him.
Is he? Yeah, and then it's you mentioned Yabusele and then David Roddy. Those are the names that have been floated out there for the Celtics.
I don't hate. Some other names.
Roddy.
Roddy. Like we can use a big physical presence like that. I wonder what he's shooting this year from three. But some names Javante Green, he's Tatum's good friend, so that probably moves him to the top of my list. But he's shooting 30% from three this year, and he's only 6'5", so I like him for the vibes and because he's Tatum's boy. So I'm cool with that. Some other names that I like are Doug McDermott in Sacramento. Where is Sacramento going? Doug McDermott, awful defender, but career in 10-year career, 41% from three. I mean, he can. If you're looking for more Hauser insurance or just another body to come in and knock down threes, he's a guy I'd look at. Torrey Craig's on the Bulls still. He doesn't play. He's old. He's from Chicago, so I think he likes being there, but he's career 35% from three, 39% this year on three attempts a game. Not sure what, and these are all guys making less than Jaden Springer, so they're guys you could one-for-one swap for.
Yeah.
The guy that really is a pipe dream that would be awesome is Amir Coffey on the Clippers. Yeah. Amir Coffey is legitimately a good player, and I don't know where the Clippers are going. Like, I know they're a playoff team, and they probably don't want to rebuild, but eventually they have to. Like, could you send them Springer and 2 second-round picks? They have no picks for the next 8 years. They got nothing back for Paul George leaving. So does Steve Ballmer say okay, this guy doesn't play a ton of minutes for us, so we can take a young guard with some second-round picks to try to recoup some assets. I mean, he's 6'7". He's shooting 43% from three this year on 4 attempts a game. So that would be, a pretty big move for us.
Does he start for them?
He sometimes starts, but he doesn't play all the time. It's kind of strange.
Yeah, he doesn't start. That was Chris Dunn, I guess, gets that spot, but Chris Dunn plays 16 minutes a game, and he plays close to 27. Yeah. So it's weird.
Roddy shoots 42% from three on 1.6 attempts a game. So,
what team is Roddy on?
But you can't leave him wide open. Is he on Atlanta now? I think
he's on the Hawks.
Gotcha.
So I think the most likely scenario though is some form of either Drew Peterson getting elevated, but I don't know why you would if you already have him on a two-way. I think why not bring O'Shea Brissett back? He's out there. He was fine last year. He's an energy guy. He's super athletic and he's long. He's been here. He's not on a team right now. Can you have the open roster spot? You don't even have. You can still trade Springer for a non-wing. Maybe then you look for a big or something like that. But O'Shea Brissett, come on back. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I'll take it. Brissy TV.
Brissy TV was good episodes and it was good content at least. So I'm ready for that.
You guys obviously
content.
His episode with them at the White House, that was kind of funny.
That was
showed up filming it, act like he was still on the team, just vibing out. That was funny. So, Steve, I know you mentioned that the NBA ratings are down. Part of it is people say the league shoots too many threes. What's your take on that?
Oh, it's so tiresome, but yes and no, I guess. Teams saw how the Celtics dismantled the league last year, and they want to recreate that magic for themselves. But the problem is either they don't have the firepower or they don't read the game as well as we do. A lot of our like offense is drive, kick, and just reading how the defense is set up. It's just so brutal that if we take a step in from the corner three, all of a sudden it's like the league's doing so great. I'm not the biggest fan of that complaint, but I got some stats for you guys, of course. Shot frequency trends by season. So 2000, 2001, rim frequency was 29%, long mid-range 30%, short mid-range 24%, threes 17%. All right. So then we go, this is the intersection where long middies meets three-pointers. So they're going up, you know what I mean? So rim percent is 33%, long middies is 24, which is down 6%. So that was 2012. This was 2012, 13. So it's just like a 6% down in those 12 years. Short midi is down to 19%, and threes is 24%. And then this year. So rim, same as 2000, 2001, 29%. The long midi, though, is 8%. Compared to 2000, 2001 is 30%, and the short midi is 23%, right around the same as 2000, 2001, and the threes is 40%. So it's really just that long mid-range. Everything else is the same. It does not matter if you're one step forward or one step back on the aesthetics of the game. It does not matter at all. And we're shooting way better than we did, say, in 2010, right? 2010 league average field goal percentage was 45.9. 2023, 2024, 47.4. I mean, the percentages they're shooting better. It's just a longer shot. That's all it really is. And I don't really think it's a 3-point problem, but more of a marketing problem for the United States. And that's another thing. Like, the United States has a main character problem because the NBA is not just a catered to 350 million people. It's catered to the other 7.5 billion people in the world. You know what I mean? Why do you think NFL is going to Mexico, the UK, Germany? Like, we just played in Abu Dhabi at the beginning of the season. The NBA is doing fine around the world. I mean, it's a global game. Ratings in America aren't the only lever that's being assessed by these financial groups for the TV contracts, right? So investors aren't going to try to throw money at the NBA solely because they like the league or the product. They want return on their investment, and the league can provide that on a global scale. I mean, they just signed an 11-year, $76 billion media rights deal. Franchise values are at an all-time high. They also have the world's most recognizable athletes. I mean, what are we talking about here?
And this is my thing now. I've transitioned. My Blue Sky account is now a ratings police. Like, I'm going after all the ratings police people because it's banana land what these people are talking about. First of all, the NBA does not care. They're not in the ratings business. I don't think people understand this. They are in the media rights business. They just got their biggest TV deal they've ever got ever. They don't care what the ratings are. They care if TNT and whoever's paying for their media rights will pay them $76 billion to play their sport. They're not Nielsen. They're the NBA. They sell their rights to somebody and say, we don't, like, TNT cares about the ratings, but obviously they don't care enough because it's fine for them because they're still paying the most they've ever had for the media rights. It's insane to me. Every sport is that, beside the NFL, is down across the board. Every sport, including college football. People do not watch TV anymore. I think it's like 40% of people have cut cable in the past like 10 years. Like, it's insane. It's insane that people make this big deal out of it. Like, I mean, I don't understand the ratings police people. Like, good for you. You only watch a sport that gets high ratings. I'm sure you only listen to musical artists that sell, 1 million copies of their album or whatever. That's great. I'm happy for you that you don't watch an unpopular sport. Like, I just don't care. And it's not a product problem. It's a first of all, it's more of a like the pregame shows and all this, the analysis of the games has gotten so, it's the first takeism and the Stephen A's of the world that have ruined it. You do not get, the only time basketball is talked about on TV outside of the game, it's in a negative light. Does this team suck? Does this guy suck? If this guy doesn't win this year, is his career a failure? You can't turn on NFL Live. They're not constantly every day talking about how Josh Allen sucks. They're doing the opposite. They're talking about how Josh Allen's awesome because he is awesome. It doesn't matter that he hasn't won a Super Bowl yet.
Yeah, like what about Patrick Mahomes? Like their team hasn't scored 30 points or more in like so long, and just like they're gritty wins. Like they're just like finding ways to win. Like what are you talking about here?
Yes, exactly. If the Celtics were winning games and only allowing teams, and they were winning in 80 to 75, people would say the product sucks. No one scores. Look, everything blows. Like it's banana land. It's just more. People just love to hate on the NBA, and it's like a social media problem. Like I think the NBA is more popular on social media. Like it has more engagement on Twitter and whatnot than the NFL does.
Yeah.
But it's so negative. It's just like people love to just talk shit about the NBA, and like they may not be watching every game, but they're following the game from a social media standpoint that's higher than the NFL. More people are sitting on their couch watching the NFL. It's on one day a week, or there's it's not as a 17-game schedule is every game is more important. It's just tough to compete with. So people that compare the NBA to the NFL ratings, it's just like, why do we care? We're not comparing any other sport to the NFL. So I don't understand what the fuss about the NBA is. And the game, Steve and I talked about this last night. The 3-point shot is not the problem. His numbers just back that up. People of our generation, at least Steve and I's generation and older, Jason's a bit younger, but they just want to go back and think about like Kobe and T-Mac, like, and all these guys, like, oh, they were shooting like mid-range fadeaways and they were going 8 for 10 on those shots every game. They weren't. They were going 4 for 12 on those shots, and we were all screaming at our TVs, why is Paul Pierce taking a step-back mid-range jumper every time? And yet, one out of every 4 games, he'd go 6 for 6 on those, and it would look awesome. But there were 100 games where you were like, dude, stop taking a crappy mid-range jumper with a guy in your face. Like, I don't understand. Watching Allen Iverson go 7 for 25 in NBA Finals games was not that fun. It wasn't a good product back then. People are, like, deluding themselves. They just convince themselves that it was like such an amazing product in 1999. It wasn't. Go back and watch the games. They stunk. Honestly, the Utah Jazz were the number 1 offense in the league in 1998 when they went to the finals against the Bulls. Number 1 offense in the league. They scored 55 points in 4 quarters against the Bulls. 55 points in Game 3 of the NBA Finals, and like people want to go back to that. Like, great, that's what you want. I'm sorry. Go watch college basketball if you want to watch. Guys clank the ball off the back of the side of the backboard. It's not for me.
Let me give you some points in the paint leaders because everybody wants to go. They need to go to the room. 2004, 2005, Phoenix led the league in 44.1 points in the paint. Memphis led the league in 2014, 2015 at 46.8, and Memphis leads the league this year at 58.6%. The league averaged 2-point percentages. In 1994, it was 48%. In 2004, and Kobe, like everybody's like favorite ever and stuff like that, 46%. And then 2024, higher than all those, 54%. So get off me. Like we're hitting more shots in the paint, in the areas that you want to be like saying that we need to go to. It's just that long range that's like the least efficient shot that we just took out of the game, and everyone's up in arms about it.
Yeah, I can go on for days about it. It drives me bananas.
We can move ahead. So the Celtics play the Pacers, I believe, not in a back-to-back, but they play, I believe, Friday and Sunday, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. And then they got the Raptors and Timberwolves. So what do you think their record is after the Timberwolves in that 4-game stretch?
It's got to be 4-0. It has to be. We can't be losing.
I think they need a 4-0 stretch. And I'm going to predict that. I also I think it's good. It's a little bit kind of good that they've gone through this tough stretch. It's kind of just show like you're not guaranteed another final stretch. You're not guaranteed 65 wins again. You got to start building good habits again. So I'm pretty confident that they're going to turn it around and go 4-0 this week.
I'm going to say, that's tough. It's the Timberwolves games is going to be tough for them because they're at Minnesota, and I know it's going to be close. I want to go 4-0, but something tells me that game is going to be a Anthony Edwards step back 3 to win it in Minnesota. So I'm going to go 3-1. I don't know if they win that game. I would love to be wrong, but I'm just going to go 3-1 just to try to not be a complete Homer, I guess. I'm gonna go 3-1 in that stretch.
Stats in this tough December stretch. They're 6-5 in December.
Ugh.
They're 24th in the league in field goal percentage in the month of December, and they're 22nd in the league in 3-point percentage. So there's still a little bit of like shooting variance here that, you like you said, Pritchard hits a couple threes like that.
Yeah.
That record could easily be 8-3, and then nobody's up in arms about what's going on with the Celtics. So I'm not going to get too crazy about it. Also, a little bit of breaking news right now. I don't know if anyone sees this.
No.
Pat Riley came out today and 10 minutes ago and said the Heat are not trading Jimmy Butler.
Wow.
He said, "We usually don't comment on rumors, but all the speculation has become a distraction to the team. It is not fair to the players and coaches. Therefore, we will make it clear. We are not trading Jimmy Butler." And Pat Riley is still an idiot for that because he should definitely trade Jimmy Butler this year.
Yeah. Dude, Shams is going wild on this one with Jimmy's like
Yeah.
and everything. He kind of, I don't know. That's tough for Shams. This would never happen to Woj.
Shams bullied Pat Riley into making a statement on whether he's trading or not.
I don't even know. I mean, Jimmy wants out. Like, I guess Shams thing on Christmas Day, like, didn't he say that like Butler like wants out by like the February 6th or something, February 7th? Thought I saw that.
He just opened up a coffee shop down there. He ain't going anywhere.
No, do you guys have any final thoughts before we end this?
Don't forget, 8 of the Celtics' losses, 4 of them by 4 points or less. So make a miss league right there. We just got to string together a couple of them, really lock in, and hopefully we get healthy injury reports. I need that.
I agree. Also, too, Happy New Year, if we don't have another one for the New Year, to everyone that watches and listens.
Yeah,
and,
Happy New Year. Happy holidays. Subscribe, like, smash that like button. Run those numbers up for your boys.
Please.
So that will do it for us. You can follow us on X at HA Courtside, and we will see you guys in the next one. Peace.
Later, fellas.